and I am trying to get into the game so we can start observing. Um, Game lobby keeps being full on me though. So while I am figuring that out, let's see. So what kind of team comp? We're probably expecting something a little more reasonable from Blitzkrieg this time. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, you would hope so. But as we've seen in the past, Blitzkrieg they're not afraid to pull out some unorthodox things. One would expect eventually it might work out for them, but that has not been the case. So the question is, how used to playing standard are they? Because if you're not used to playing standard, then it's not necessarily just going to be a fix all just to switch over to it.
Very true. But at the same time, I think that just playing a little more standard does give teams like at least that foundation that they can then work around. Because the reason that it's standard is because there is um, inherent steadiness from that sort
Hmm.
of a lineup. And
More win
so,
conditions.
right. And so if you create a team that does not have that inherent steadiness, then any other sort of flaws or other issues become more transparent.
Sure, absolutely. So into picks and bans we go.
Wondering if Lucian's going to end up on the chopping block
I
again.
will wait for you to be better.
Get a lot of symmetry coming out of these games. Game 1, losing team had no tanks and lost to Lucian. Game 3, losing team had no tanks and lost to Lucian.
Now Blitzkrieg does have first pick here, so if they value the Lucian heavily enough, they can just take it away that way. Wouldn't expect to see another Kane, at least coming out of that side. Or excuse me, not Kane, Pike.
You don't have
Yeah, I have to imagine Pike's not going to get picked up again. Didn't do too badly, but just had a long ramp-up time that they just couldn't afford.
And there is the Lucian ban, as you predicted. Sejuani coming back, aimed at Cheney, I believe. So nothing too surprising so far early on in this phase.
I'm guessing Zach will be the third ban from Blitzkrieg, unless they plan to pick him up.
We will find out.
The other interesting thing is just trying to consider if they were thinking about picking up Pike again, who would they have to counteract his inability to protect his champion?
I am forsaken.
Because
Sure.
that's part of the reason why that bot lane worked as well as it did, is because every time Vladimir got in trouble, he ran away.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the Kaisa ban now, there is no quick escape. But we'll see what happens. Zach is available. Didn't ban him out
Banned
this
away
time.
the Aurelia. Chose that one as the priority, and
No,
Zoe.
that's Kaisa,
actually-
not Aurelia.
Oh, excuse me. And Zoe, actually, the first pick coming out of Blitzkrieg now.
It is interesting. I think this is the first Zoe played by someone who isn't Hohenheim. So that's interesting. Let's see what decisions on the picks Cowbell makes. Every ADC. Alright, getting the Jin out.
Shit.
And they let the Zag through. So,
So comfort pick for Shaken there.
let's see what the response is from Blitzkrieg. Somebody tanky. Or like Nunu. Just do Nunu. Nunu's fine. People like Nunu. Well, I suppose he doesn't have to pick an order.
Draven.
So
Coming
Draven
out of
versus
Doomsday.
Jin bot lane. That's interesting. Still not sure who the Zoe will be up against in the mid lane. We'll have to see. Oh god.
All right, so
Okay, fine.
what are we looking at here?
We're looking at another AP bot lane. I think they're just trolling at this point. I mean, maybe there's legitimate strategy. Someone correct me. I'm not going to check chat because that'll lag me up. But I mean, I did see Great Beard of Odin, I think it was, say that they're competing for first draft pick.
I saw that comment as
Which is
well.
not the way the LCUS works, folks. But it's a good joke nonetheless. But I mean,
Galio coming out from Cowbell again.
I don't know. I mean, let's be serious for a minute here. Vagar's or Zoe or Vagar could be theoretically a reasonable support. Zoe does have good poke damage, which you could see out of other AP supports like Vel'Koz or Brand.
We have seen. I mean,
Also,
there have been hints of Vagar support being relevant in the past.
right. And not, yeah, I mean, Vagar's got that big AoE denial with his stun in prison. So, I mean, there's some perfectly reasonable things here. Now, what wouldn't be reasonable is if Draven is jungle and it's Vagar Pike bot lane. That would not be reasonable. But for the moment, I take back my trolling comment. I think there is possibility here. Not what you're normally expecting to see, and their next two picks, a damn well better be tanks.
Never look back.
I do certainly hope it's a Draven in the bottom lane, because I feel like very few champions in this game embody the Blitzkrieg mentality as well as that man.
Very
A
true.
lot of bans. Yeah, 2 more top lane bans coming out of Blitzkrieg in that phase.
Very
And
similar.
2 more top lane bans coming out of Cowbell as well.
Oh, there's the Jax. Alright, so Jax shows up again. Probably Jax top, I'd say, by the looks of it.
Now, it's interesting to me that you have the option to last pick top lane there and get that counter pick guaranteed, but they opt to last pick support instead.
They probably want to see what the lane matchup they're up against in the bot lane is, because at the moment they don't actually know. So I mean, there could be something weird like a Vagar, like they want to see if like a third mid laner is picked or something like that. I think before they decide who the support's going to be. But it looks like Odin's going to be going Malphite.
Okay, so you got your tanks.
Yeah, I do have my
Those
tanks.
are 2 of the most durable tanks around.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to see that. I don't know. Cowbell could do something like Nami, might be reasonable. Maybe Zyra. Oh, Tom Kench, also one of the
Tom
tankiest tanks around. Haven't seen him too much this split. All right.
Now, this is a little bit interesting because there's a definite slant towards AD damage coming out of Cowbell, and you've got 2 tanks who just love to soak up physical damage
Yeah.
on the side of Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, I think this is a reasonable thing. I also noticed that there hasn't been any shuffling yet.
So might we have a top lane Zoe coming out of Odin?
Zoe versus Jax. That's an interesting top lane. They may just be messing with us though. We'll see in 15 seconds. I mean, Malphite support, not the worst thing in the world.
No, it's certainly been seen in the past. I will admit I don't know the last time I've seen Zoe
Yep,
in the
there
top
we go.
lane. Oh, and a last second switch. So it'll be Zoe support, actually.
Yeah, which was, more or less what we were expecting would happen. You want to get that Vagar fed. Zoe's got great poke damage. That's, I think, part of the reason why Tom Kench got picked. Is because Zoe, with that poke potential, you put Tom Kench's big face in the way. Braum would have also been a reasonable choice, but his protection is, based on his cooldowns.
Yeah, the other nice thing about that Tom Kench pick is that, you'll be able to pick up and save any sleepy Jins.
Yeah, so I would imagine this Tom Kench pick, and we can certainly ask them if Cowbell ends up winning this next game, would be because they correctly predicted that Zoe was going to be the pick. So we'll just have to see how it works out. This top lane, like we said, very durable. Bot lane is incredibly vulnerable to the Zac going in on them. We'll have to see if they're able to make something work with that. Draven does not have anything in the way of escapes beyond just a quick little dash. So he's going to have to be really careful to look out for Zac coming from any possible angle. Galio as well. This team has a lot of travel ability coming out of Cowbell here. You've got Tom Kench's mouth portal. You've got Galio's jump, Zac's jump, and Jin's just long range art form. But then there's a lot of CC coming out of Blitzkrieg. With Zoe's sleep, Vagar's stun, Rammus's everything, Malphite also everything. So I mean, there's a lot of potential here for Blitzkrieg to make something happen. I just hope this bot lane for them goes as well as I'm hoping they hope it does.
Yeah, one would certainly commend Blitzkrieg on, as you had hoped, switching back to something more standard.
As standard as
Zoe in the
Zoe bot
support
lane
role.
can be.
Yeah, Zoe in the support role is still a little unorthodox there, but running some tanks at least to have some front line, and it'll be interesting to see if it ends up being difficult for Cowbell to punch through these tanks because there's such a tilt towards physical damage coming out of that side, which is not necessarily what you want against a Rammus Malphite.
Right, but then on the other side, there's two AP characters up against Galio.
Sure. Well put.
So we'll have to see how it works out for them. Definitely some unorthodox things here for Blitzkrieg, but we'll see if this one works out a little bit better than the last one. And I mean, I'm actually really excited to see what support Zoe looks like because I think that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is a big game for Cowbell, I think. The difference between getting 3 points and 1 point, where they are in the standings, could end up being very important.
Well, let's see, heading in. And Cowbell did win the skins and won the game, so there is no curse, everyone. We figured it out. It's actually all random. All right. Oh, I don't know.
Let's see.
I mean, that
Well,
Blood Moon Jin always gets my eye.
yeah, when he pops that curtain call, that's so cool. There were more overall skins on the side of Blitzkrieg, however. CB running skinless here.
I'm just gonna have to give it to Cowbell just because of that Jin, because I'm biased.
It is a very, very cool skin. One of my favorites in the entire game.
Though I suppose to be fair, Mecha Malphite's pretty cool too. It's also nice to see a different Draven skin. Draven has generally either been skinless or like the announcer Draven, so this Beast Hunter one is a more
Yeah.
interesting appearance.
It's funny to see the difference coming out of the jungle picks on both sides because at this time last game we were talking about how both Kayn and Graves are, big damage dealers, love to fight in the jungle and things, whereas this time we've got Zach Rammus, a very passive, tank matchup.
Thanks for the pings.
Lots of things coming out.
I don't want to cast accusations, but I believe Greatbeard of Odin has said that he likes pinging just to annoy us. So, mission not accomplished, but I hope your mouse breaks.
I don't know, Kenos, you sound pretty annoyed.
No, that's just
Mission might be
that's
accomplished.
my default voice. It's fine. All right, so red and blue buff starting this time.
Shaden and CD making a couple of slight moves up into this blue side jungle, but I wouldn't expect much to come from this. Odin will throw a rock at him.
Yeah, relatively aggressive posturing, but not too much in the way of any sort of actual pressure. Icky getting poked. Huge already at 2 stacks.
Yeah, I will admit I'm not that familiar with Vygar's stack pace. Are you aware generally what pace you want to be at?
Not typically. Vagar is not somebody who I have played very much. I just
Yeah,
know
same here.
that whenever there's a Vagar, at least one person in chat wants to know the stacks every so often. So,
Alright, well, we'll certainly keep an eye on that for you guys.
ooh, Odin getting beaten down a little bit by Shaden there. Poor Malphite's always taking a beating.
Oh, Shaden gets the level 2 advantage and jumps in. Counter-Strike is not quite going to land, but bullying him off the minion wave right away. We saw a similar thing in game 1.
Alright, see what we can see. Huge trying to get a little aggressive there. Isn't quite able to make it work. But they're still relatively even on health percentage, if not total health. Odin now finally hits 2.
Cheney looking for the early Scuttle Crab in the top lane, trying to establish some control there. And Shaken is actually right in the neighborhood, so this could be an exciting start, although I would... Yeah, they see each other, so the situation is going to diffuse.
Little voice in my ear is telling me that Vagar should be at 100 plus stacks by 10 minutes.
Alright, well, he is at 10 right now, I believe. Jump in from he will take a turret shot, but I think he'll probably just go back to base soon. Running a little low on mana. Shaden just pressuring so much on Odin in the top lane, who's getting low on mana himself.
Yeah, those poor low mana Malphites. Couple little hits there, a little bit back and forth. Yeah, no mana Malphite this early on isn't scaring anybody. But same with the no mana Galio. Galio is not really getting much done here, especially against Huge, who has mana.
So an uneventful start to the game, which I suppose is what we would have expected given your picks.
I don't know. I mean, there is a little bit of tension to be had in this mid and top lane, as both sides are bringing each other extremely low.
Here comes the roll. Actually, in the mid lane, Hickey, he
Oh.
flashes away. Cheney will flash for the taunt. I'm not sure if they have the damage. Dark Matter comes out. It's not quite enough. The Comet follows, but Hickey does get out. Cheney trades his flash.
Greatbeard has to flash also extremely low.
That pressure from Shaden just unrelenting up there. Oh, will he go for the dive here? He does jump in, but I think he has to flash away.
Alright, so both top lane flashes are burned. Greatbeard of Odin is like, well, fine, then I'll stick around and get some more CS.
Yeah, I'll soak up some minions that actually he wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So I appreciate Shaden's bravery, but not sure that that was the right time for it.
There's some of that drowsy.
And a sleepy giant catfish in the bot lane.
Odin's still sticking around. Probably gonna go back now, though.
Teleports are going to be desynced between both lanes, actually. So that's always the potential for one team to try to make an aggressive play off of that.
It would have been interesting to see how that mid lane gank had gone if Cheney hadn't missed his hedgehog roll.
Oh, jumping from Shaken. He does land the stretching strike and pulls Goonstomp back in. Deadly Flourish lands onto Chaos, but they're far enough under the turret that they are fine.
Might get
Shaken
the passive.
Actually get. Oh, here comes the teleport, and Cheney is rolling in. He gets onto Tom Kench. Will he bother flashing away? He activates the thick skin. No, he doesn't. He waits on it. Now he finally does. Great patience, but I think he will still go down. One more shot. Oh, he gets away. They do get the passive of Shaken, but a great job by Mr. Pig to hold on to that thick skin as long as he did and limp out alive.
Yeah, really good patience there, like you said. Also, one of the big reasons lots of people hate Tom Kench is that he can just be like, oh, I have an extra half my health bar.
So we did see the teleport play attempting to be made by Blitzkrieg, and I like the decision here to transfer that straight over to an Ocean Drake. We might have an extended laning phase here. Hickey is coming over, perhaps to try to contest, but I don't think that would be wise. Shaken jumps in. He doesn't have his passive. He is so low. Deadly Flourish comes out. Hickey is in the pit. Shaken is going to go down for first blood. Now, who will secure the Drake? It's so low, and it is smited away by Cheney. So a big victory here in the bottom side river for Team Blitzkrieg. They get ahead early. Now can they hold on to it?
Yeah, really good job there. Good risk awareness there by Cheney, still deciding to go in even with his relatively low health to try to secure that dragon. And the ability to get it.
Able to watch. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the ability to get it now means that so many of these mana-heavy characters are going to be so much better in lane.
Absolutely, great point. We were talking about how sad that Malphite was with no mana up there. Now, while all that has been happening, though, Shaden has just been free to farm up in the top lane. 22 CS at this point, and he's posturing a wave.
Looks like Vagar is a little bit behind on his farm. 50 stacks at 7.5 minutes. But I did get one assist out of it as well.
One thing I didn't notice until just now is almost a double CS lead for Brandana over Goonstomp in the bottom lane.
That is pretty serious. Not too surprising though, Jin can put on a lot of pressure when he wants to.
Yeah, he can be certainly quite a lane bully, and I'm going to start watching the bottom lane maybe a little bit more, because I want to see if this Zoe pick is being effective or not, or if maybe that's part of the reason for the deficit.
It does seem like a lot of the drowsies that I've seen have been landing on the Tahm Kench. Not that drowsy landing period is a bad thing, but it's the support being asleep is not a huge detriment. I mean, hell, the support is 10 kills.
Shaden is jumping in onto Greybeard of Odin. I think this will end up being a relatively even trade. But extended fights for Jax, that's what he wants. And Odin jumps back in with the ultimate. I think he could have used that to escape, but instead he feels confident enough to stay there. Shaken now jumps in, and oh, Cheney is just barely too late, but the taunt under the turret will secure the trade. Top laner for jungler.
Good job by Cheney coming up there. Sonic was a little too slow, but he'll make up for it.
Mid lane, Hickey getting bullied down a little bit. Dodges the Dark Matter with the Justice Punch and then lands the taunt and just barely survives the ultimate. So huge, almost getting that solo kill in the mid lane, but not quite. Actually, Goonstomp is looking for the snipe with the axes, but won't quite get it.
He actually,
that would have been nice.
Yeah, he should have recalled them quicker. He could have gotten that kill.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Probably wasn't thinking about it, but with the angle that he retreated back into, if he'd pressed R immediately, something could have happened there.
See Shaden roaming down to the middle lane. Wondering if this will be a full swap. No, he's heading right back up. So just picking up farm wherever he can find it.
So there is a lot of damage potential coming out of Cowbell's bot lane here, but something else I noticed just by the way the items work, every time Mr. Pig gets a CS, Jin also gets a CS. So that's 15 CS that Goonstomp can't get access to because, you know, he doesn't have a support.
Shaken is down in the bottom lane again, and Goonstomp is pulled in by the Stretching Strike and destroyed by Brandana.
Good attempt at the sleepy time. Almost did shut the Zac down, but it didn't go off.
Now Chaos, he has to be careful. He could certainly be dove down here. Shaken is still hanging around, but Cheney is there, but oh, Shaken comes right back at him. The junglers are just following each other all over the map. Cheney is so tanky, though. I'm not sure the flash was necessary, but it will get him out. Brandana uses the heal to dodge the event horizon. Teleport now coming in from Shaden. Yes, it is Shaden. I wasn't sure if it was him or Hickey. Hickey is in the bottom lane. Curtain Call is not quite going to find a target. CG is in now. Cheney is still solo, still hanging out. Deadly Flourish just lands on the edge, and they will end up picking up the last kill. Cowbell with a 1.4k gold lead now.
Yeah, we're once again seeing a little bit of the problem with some of these off-color supports. Not that you can really call Pyke off-color, but I'm going to keep being mean to him until I see him in a good game. And I'm sure there are good Pyke players out there, no offense to anyone who plays Pyke well or sees Pyke played well. But
oh, this is a Sleepy Jax.
Nope. Sleepy Jax with a big gargoyle friend. But when Draven was in a lot of trouble, the only thing Chaos could do, and we see this again,
is not force the flash. Shaken is everywhere with this Zac right now. Oh, and Hickey going right back in with the Justice Punch.
Yeah, I'd get out of there, Goon. Goon, stop trying to go deep. You got nothing to prove, man.
Oh, Odin jumps in with the ultimate.
Good sleepy
you might have to take
there.
this, Kenos. I'm having a little bit of lag issue right now.
That's fine. Alright, so they take out the Galio. Good job with the follow-up there. Good rotations by both the mid and top lane teleporting in there to help out Blitzkrieg. 3-3. But yeah, it's the only thing Zoe seems to be able to do when anyone is in trouble around her is just throw down the sleepy time and hope for the best, or whatever it's called. Sleepy trouble bubble. And that's not enough to save someone. It really isn't. And I mean, you know, you're doing an okay job. Your ADC and their ADC are relatively on even footing, CS notwithstanding, of course. But you know, this is the third or fourth time that we've seen where Draven gets in trouble and all Chaos can do is drop a sleepy bubble and, you know, get out himself. And
yeah, now...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just, you know, going to keep complaining. But go ahead.
Well, Goonstomp did manage to pick up a kill and cash in some stacks, but I believe he died right before that. So, unfortunately, not a big cash in for him.
We do have Cheney in a position here. There is some follow-up potential. Here we go.
Yeah, CB is going to be taunted, and the Event Horizon comes down. It doesn't land right away, and CB is just going to walk around in the middle of it. He does eventually walk into the wall. Do they have the damage to finish it off? Huge. Looking for the ultimate to finish things. He does get it. Now can they get out? As Cheney is taken very low. Deadly Flourish just barely doesn't land. Another Event Horizon should help keep Cheney alive. Can you land the curtain call onto the Speedy Ramus? No, not quite. So, a good pick there.
Yeah, really well done. I'm sure Brandana feels bad about not landing those, but those sideways moving targets aren't the easiest things to land.
Absolutely, and it was, you know, that's a rolling Ramus. That's an extra hard target to hit.
Exactly. So yeah, good job there by Cheney. Cheney is starting to really establish his presence in this game. Like you said, both junglers were kind of following each other around. Whenever Shaken would make a move, suddenly Ramus was there too. Oh, there's the Drowsy.
Bubble onto Shaken, but he gets the slingshot off.
That was one of those ESPN freeze frames. Well, here we see the diver. Form not that great. Seems to have fallen asleep in midair.
Got out alive, though.
Alright, Huge could be in a little bit of trouble here.
Pig lands the Tongue Lash, and the Deadly Flourish actually lands too. So Shaken says, I'll go in for that. The Kidnap lands onto 2. Huge is in so much trouble. He goes down to Brandana, who is once again off and rolling in this game.
Mr. Pig pops his extra skin, but no one else was following up on him there. Shaken's passive is available.
I tell you, Shaken on this Zac pick, he continues to impress me. He seems to just know the capabilities of the champion so well.
Yeah, which can be a problem. We've even seen that today. We'll see if they should get this Jax here.
Yeah, Shaden is going to flash away. Then he actually turns around for a moment, hops to a ward. Do they have one more slow to come out? No, he will get away, and he pops the champion mastery on the way.
Alright, does manage to get out. But yeah, we've seen that on a couple of people where they don't quite know the champion's limits on someone who has go in heavy, as champions like Zac are, to potential detriments. But yeah, this is definitely going well for Shaken and for Cowbell in general. They've reduced Blitzkrieg's lead and are in the head by 2k, mostly thanks to those turrets. So if Odin is able to push this top lane, he could really make up the gold deficit.
Yeah, that turret is very, very low. Shaden does have teleport available, and he will pop it to make sure that Odin can't get that turret gold right now.
Alright, so based on the lovely voice in my ear, Yuge is definitely behind in stacks. 106 at 15 minutes.
Oh, jump in again from Shaken. He is just picking on this Vigar. Deadly Flourish lands. Huge is just gone.
Oh.
CB picks it up with the Winds of War.
They do get the passive though, so that's half the battle. You want to get that passive sooner or later. Next turret should go down though. Jax
Cowbell doing a good job focusing this mid lane down.
Yeah, Jax helping a little bit with a split push. Blitzkrieg really needs to start finding lanes to push down. They've been on the back foot most of the time, of course, thanks to Cowbell's exceptional play. But if they could find somewhere else to put some pressure on, to relieve the pressure on their mid lane, I think that would be best for them.
It's also a difficult situation for Blitzkrieg right now, where if you look at their wards, they're all in their own jungle. They don't have any in the river. Top lane there is one, but other than that, everything is defensive vision at this point, which makes it very difficult to have the confidence to try to go push a lane.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like there is a call to go for that for the Rift Herald on Cowbell, but I don't think they want to give up their position.
Well, Shaden's heading down to the bottom lane, and he does not have his teleport available. Used it a few moments ago. So, yeah, I would be surprised if we saw Cowbell try to make a play across the map without that available.
Alright, Odin once again pushing. Should be able to at least get up on the turret. Maybe not. Hickey's right there. Yeah, loses quite a lot of his entourage.
Yeah, it's very surprising to me the spacing from Blitzkrieg. I mean, that top lane turret is so low and has been for a while, but they have 4 characters in the bottom half of the map.
And here comes
Dragon's still
Shaken.
not up for a while. And yeah, here comes the gank onto Odin. He has no support. No one else is even on his hemisphere of the map, but he will get away with the flash.
Does have his ult as an escape as well if he needs to. But yeah, you know, like you said, there's Blitzkrieg is once again not really having the best, not only objective control, but objective directionness, where they aren't realizing they're down 3 turrets, or they aren't prioritizing that they're down 3 turrets.
Now, it looks like they do want to try to fight for this Rift Herald. We saw a big explosive fight around the Rift Herald in Game 1. We might get one here. Cheney running in. He's trying to get the steal. I didn't see who it actually went to, but now the fight is popping off. Shaken is forced to flash, or excuse me, jump out of the pit. Brandana taken very low. Odin bullying him in the back. Cheney is extremely low. Mr. Pig will just barely flash out, and so will Picky.
I believe
So-
Cheney got it because Huge picked up the Rift Herald.
All right, good catch there. Thank you. So yeah, as we saw a lot in Game 1, just a explosive fight that ends with very little results.
Oh, and they're just popping this
a lot
right
of
away.
flashes burned. Well, they know that that almost everyone had to go back. Shaken jumping in though, and Cheney will get taken down as he took turret aggro. They do get the turret though. They'll probably get a decent chunk out of this second one if they can get Shelly up far enough.
There she
There
goes.
she goes.
And a little bit of Drowsy delaying some of the damage. But yeah, another good steal by Cheney. Helping his team out, getting that objective, and good job by them using it right away. They had an opportunity to use it, they did. They got a relatively full health turret down. And meanwhile, Draven with Goon Stomp on him is continuing to farm in the bot lane to get caught up a little bit onto Brandana's Jhin.
And there were 3 flashes burned on the side of Cowbell as well, so we'll see if that ends up being an important thing as more fights continue to pop off in the next couple minutes.
Alright, Baron is up. Next dragon will be up soon. It'll be a Cloud Drake. Both sides having an Ocean Drake now, so Cloud will help with all these rotations. I would like to see Blitzkrieg pick it up. I think that would help them a lot, especially with Cheney. But we will see what we can see. I think there was a little bit of a worry there from that Draven ult that they were doing Baron, but nothing
Well, there are
from it.
3 members from Cowbell in this top lane, so the dragon could be taken, but it would be at the cost of an inner turret most likely.
There is a ward on it, so they do have vision on it. They actually have a lot of vision currently. Spread out their vision a little bit more. Not really any sort of deep penetrating wards, but at the very least, wards that give them some awareness.
Yeah, good point there. Yeah, I think Blitzkrieg did well with how they used their little bit of time after that Rift Herald fight, because, as you said, they popped the Rift Herald right away, knowing that they had so many members of Cowbell back in base, they could get that turret, whereas they are still pretty far behind, so that opportunity might not have happened again for a while.
Odin cannot solo the Jax and has to fall back. And here goes Cowbell going for the dragon.
Oh, got a Drowsy Jax in the top lane. I think he will be fine. He's popped the Event Horizon in a slightly peculiar place there. And it doesn't look like Cheney's going to go for this steal. So, Cowbell does pick it up. They'll have some extra movement speed around the map.
And the next dragon will be another Ocean. So a lot of regeneration in this game. Jax gets away once again.
Shaken charging up the slingshot and a flash away from Huge, but he still gets hit by the stretching strike and the deadly flourish. He is in so much trouble, so much damage coming down. Can he walk away? No, the last shot from Brandana picks him up. But on the other side, Hickey is extremely low. He is going to escape though, and Shaken will walk away from the turret. Goon Stomp. Will he try to run this down? It's a Drowsy Jax. Zoe jumping back and trying to find some damage, but so many people from Cowbell are going to walk away just barely alive, and they get the pick on Huge.
They're lucky Huge was the only pick that they got there. It looked like it could have gone a lot worse.
Oh, Shaded now. Gets hit by the Unstoppable Force, and he's trying to juke away from Cheney's roll. Teleport from CB will stop any aggression. Any further aggression, that is.
Alright.
But that is the Malphite ultimate, burned for very little.
3.5 gold K lead. Cool. Gold K lead. That's fine.
We all know what you meant. It's all good.
Huge 150. Very low score game. Not quite what you'd be expecting to see at 23 minutes from the LCUS, but not bad. Should be able to get this turret. Cheney could just tank it. I think he's thinking about it.
Yep, there we go.
Alright. Two
Second
turrets.
turret after the Shelly turret earlier in the mid lane. So Blitzkrieg, they've done a pretty good job of stabilizing in the last few minutes, I think.
Yeah, we'll see if they can hold on to it. I mean,
Oh boy, Chaos is all alone against this Jax, who is sleepy, but it doesn't even matter. A quick solo kill down there.
I think that's the other problem with playing off-brand supports, like Zoe, is that then you get far too tempted to be by yourself. You
Showing
know,
Smite. They are trying so hard to collapse on Shaden down here. Huge picks it up, but that means that the rest of Cowbell goes straight to the Baron.
This is
Odin
a-
and Huge do both have their teleports available. Can Blitzkrieg get up there in time?
Alright, Baron's helping the fight.
Odin is going to get taken solo. He got off a decent ultimate, but there's just no support there. The rest of the team is just desperately trying to rush up there as much as possible.
They should be able
and
to get it, yeah.
they do push Cowbell off. So, second time in this series we've seen a top laner sacrifice his life to stop the Baron attempt. Certainly worth it to do that. Oh boy, but now Shaken jumps back in. He actually gets his slingshot interrupted by the roll of Cheney, but now the damage is coming out. Goonstomp is extremely low and exhausted. Shaken is going to get popped into Blobless, but I think he'll be fine. Big taunt coming out from CB. Both carries down for Blitzkrieg, and they are in a full retreat. Oh, the stretch! What a flash. Stretch striking. From Shaken. They pick up one more bonus kill at the end there, and now they should be able to turn around and go right back in there.
And just like that, Blitzkrieg has lost all the momentum. I think in that situation, rather than trickling in, perhaps it would have been better to just wait for Odin's play to happen when the rest of the team was coming. I mean, they had vision on the Baron pit. They weren't taking the Baron very quickly. So they had a possibility of a 5v4, and so they turned it into a 4v4 that then just kind of dissolved.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you make a good point there. If they wait on that unstoppable, maybe there's someone there to capitalize it better. I also think they made a mistake. Once they did push Cowbell off the Baron, they sort of pursued them into the top lane and opened themselves up to that initiation from Shaken.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I was saying before, the problem with being an uncommon AP support is you get tempted to go off on your own and farm. You wouldn't see a Leona or off on her own farming, typically.
Sure.
And
Morgana, a Thresh, yeah,
right.
absolutely, good point.
So then you have a Zoe all alone against the person who loves finding people all alone named Jax. And that just never will end well. And we've seen that happen to Chaos now. Only once, to be fair, but it was very poignant. So we'll see what happens
AP
here.
support and try to solo a Jax, you're gonna have a bad time.
Big push here. Jax trying to split push. Odin facing off against him.
Yeah, here's the 1-3-1 actually. I expected it more last game, but got Cowbell trying to pull it out. Cheney is having a wet noodle fight with Shaken, who is behind a turret. He does manage to get away with the slingshot, though. The unstoppable force just barely late from Odin. And meanwhile, Shaden just taking a free turret. Mr. Pig does get destroyed, though. Doesn't activate that thick skin in time. Brandana will be able to kite away. So they lose Mr. Pig, but 2 turrets go down in favor of Cowbell.
Yeah, they're losing a lot of turrets here.
There's no teleport available from Odin, so it'd be very difficult for him to be able to pull off any sort of play on that bottom lane. Brandana taking extremely low, and there's that Vigard damage. Just didn't even get hit by the stun, but it didn't matter. And that should shut down the push for now.
It's all fun and games until your ADC dies.
That's a significant amount of shutdown gold that just went over to Huge as well.
Well, we'll see if he's able to take advantage of it. He does have Zanya's, picked up that needlessly large rod. But another Banner of Command. This is like the most we've ever seen Banner of Command in the LCUS. They're trying to use it before it's lost, I guess.
For anyone curious, Huge is now at 204 stacks. And
This is going to be the... Yeah, this,
Cowbell just hiding around the corner, and now they jump in. Cheney does get another contested smite, but he does go down, and then Goonstomp has to flash out of the pit. So Cheney continuing to show his smite abilities.
that was the cheekiest attempt at a Dragon Steel I think I've ever seen.
That was pretty adorable. I thought that there was some sort of visual bug going on for a moment. Shaken jumps in on the Great Beard of Odin. Deadly Flourish misses this time. Brandana's been very accurate with those. Almost surprising to see him miss one at this point. CB jumps in looking for the Justice Punch. Can't find it. Shaken gets stunned out of his slingshot by the Event Horizon. And now Great Beard of Odin, he's going in onto the backline looking for Brandana. But Shaden is there, and they will be able to kite away from this. Brandana walks away alive. He does not get hit by the axes either. And this push will continue, I believe. They'll need a fresh wave, though.
Someone send Goonstomp an email and tell him that Draven's axes can be recalled at any time.
Curtain call opening up. They are looking for a big time push now. Perhaps trying to end the game right here. Big Galio ult comes in, but Cheney is so tanky. I'm not sure if they can burn him down under the turret. But they're on to Goonstomp, and they will burn him down easily. Everyone on Cowbell is so low except CB, but they just don't have the damage. Shaden jumps in for one last kill. Chaos is so low. Brandana can't find the finish with the Deadly Flourish. But this should be an inhibitor and maybe the game.
I don't think it's the game. I think that Zoe, even if... Well, I mean, A, Odin just respawned. But B, I think that even if Zoe isn't fed in any sense of the word, she has enough poke that she can scare off people that low.
Well, Cowbell, they do not go for the end. You're right about that, but they are sticking around. Now looking for a second inhibitor. Great Beard of Odin has Unstoppable Force available in about 5 seconds. Huge is back alive. He lands the Event Horizon. And Cowbell could be punished here. No, Shaken is able to run away with the slingshot, and they will get out with 2 inhibitors.
Alright, huge gold lead now, 11k. Alright, so if you're Blitzkrieg, obviously you kind of have to stay home and defend at the moment. Gonna be having a lot of super minions heading into your base.
Yeah, and I mean, with a split pusher like Jax, your base can just be destroyed so quickly if you leave him alone with it for even just a moment. Baron respawning in about 90 seconds. Next Drake will be Cloud, so we continue to have somewhat unexciting Drakes. Yeah, for me, it's just so difficult to imagine Blitzkrieg winning a big fight because Veigar can only burst down, you know, Jhin or Jax. And whichever one he does not is going to be so difficult for Blitzkrieg to deal with in the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the problem with the dual threat nature of some of these team comps. You gotta shut down one or the other, and if both are active, it's really hard to stop them.
So it looks like proper play from Cowbell here as they're setting up around the top lane. Minion pressure is about to arrive in the bottom lane, and someone from Blitzkrieg is going to have to deal with that. Shaken actually jumping in, but doesn't get the initiation. Event Horizon comes out, and it doesn't look like they're in a position to capitalize on it. So that's a pretty important cooldown that is now down. Huge is very far forward, and Shaken jumps in, actually goes over his head. Here comes the Galio ultimate, big kidnap, and Goonstomp is on the front lines. He's about half health. They do get the pop onto Shaken, and CB now in the back line. This is sort of a disjointed fight from Cowbell. It seemed like they weren't on the same page on it when they were going in or not. But Shaden has somehow managed to get behind everyone and just destroys both carries. And I think that should be enough to put the seal on this one for Cowbell.
The joys of the backdoor teleport.
Here comes the curtain call. Can we finish it off with style? Shaden won't let Brandana even try to land it. A quadra kill off a great TP flank from Shaden. And that's a pretty convincing 2-0 coming out of Cowbell.
Yeah, really good job there from Cowbell. Got back in the lead after a rather impressive showing early on by Blitzkrieg, but just weren't able to keep the momentum, and Cowbell swept in and rocked it. A lot of damage coming out of mid lane there with the Vagar, though.
Yeah, Huge did have the most damage to champions by a pretty sizable clip as well.
I mean, it actually looks like, for the most part, the damage on both sides is pretty equal. We did see quite a lot of low health champions on Cowbell's side throughout that. Also, not to mention that they had 3 very tanky characters on their team.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and I mean 1 revive passive, which is always going to provide just more health for you to have to burn away. Same thing with Tom Kench and the thick skin.
yeah, absolutely. So that just goes to show. I mean, heck, if we go to damage taken, yeah, look at that, Zach. 39,000 damage taken.
Jeez.
Well, he's the tank. That's what he does. All right, so somewhat heartbreaking for Blitzkrieg again. Heart's in the right place. Execution isn't quite there. Cowbell manages to go 2-0 in our first 2-0 of the night. They did also win both the skin things, so hey, maybe the skin things now get people to win. And we'll be going into our top 2 Titans match coming up here as Option 12 tries to get its crown back from Phoenix, and Phoenix tries to hold on. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.